experience I had last night, May 21, 2026, the flank attack at the transit. The night was closing in. Deep into the graveyard hours, the crew was wrapping up the shift. By 1:30 a.m., the last of the cars rolled out, the main lights dimmed, and the deep stillness of the industrial park took over. I pulled my vehicle down the row, past the main entrance, and tucked into a parking space deep in the shadows on the far end of the lot. It was pitch black on that side. Looking behind me, all I could make out through the vehicle window was the faint, heavy silhouette of what looked like dense woods and bushes. I decided to lock it down and spend the night right there. I figured I'd settle in, ground myself, and let God keep His hand on me. I was sitting there, just fiddle-faddling around on my phone, maybe playing a game of chess online, keeping my mind neutral. And then, the atmosphere shifted. Out of nowhere, I felt a heavy, oppressive energy radiating from my back left flank. I knew exactly what it was, a dark, hostile presence lurking just outside the vehicle, right over in the brush. It didn't speak with audible words, but it communicated directly in the spirit. It issued a flat-out warning: if you don't leave, I'm going to do something to you tonight. Its oppressive and determined attack was ongoing. But I didn't panic. I didn't run. I counted it. I prayed and said, God, I ask you to make this thing stop. In Jesus' name, stop this thing. Instantly, the pressure subsided. It backed off. I went back to what I was doing, but a short while later, it tried to press in with another wave of friction before fading away again. Eventually, I closed my eyes and went to sleep. But the conflict wasn't over. It just shifted environments. In my sleep, I dropped into a vivid dream. A female figure stepped out of the darkness and moved toward me, trying to force an embrace. My spirit instantly flagged it: nope, we aren't going there. She moved in for an embrace anyway, wrapping her hands around the back of my head, and pressing her forehead against mine. Before I could break free, the entity started aggressively choking me right there in the dream state. Even trapped in sleep, I commanded it out loud: in the name of Jesus, get off me. The moment that name left my lips, the hold shattered. The entity broke loose, the pressure on my throat stopped, and I woke up instantly, completely free. When the sun came up this morning, I looked out behind my vehicle and realized that what looked like isolated woods in the dark was actually a boundary fence. On the other side of that fence weren't wild woods, it was a row of nice, quiet suburban backyards right adjacent to the lot. That's when I clearly saw the layout. This wasn't a random, wandering spirit passing through the trees. This undoubtedly was a concentrated, intentional projection coming from someone nearby who recognized the presence of Christ within me and tried to force an eviction. My mistake last night was asking for the pressure to stop without explicitly commanding the territory to be cleansed and driven out. But a lesson learned in the dark is a weapon used in the light. You set your perimeter, you guard your mind gate, and you stand your ground. Because no matter how dark the flank attack gets, the sovereignty of the Spirit of God always holds the final line. Stay vigilant out there.